Well, good morning, everyone. Today is May 11th. My name is Brendan Derone, Chief Distribution Officer with E4 Insurance Services, and you're joining the BREW. Today, our guest speaker is Andrew Herrera. But before we get to him, we always got to cover our national days. So today is National Eat What You Want Day. This is supposedly a break from cheating from your diet, what have you. I choose not to celebrate this day because that would infer that I could not eat what I want all other days of the year. And so I tend to ignore this holiday. It's also National Foam Rolling Day, known as the Cheap Man's Massage, National Twilight Zone Day, and last but not least, National Women's Checkup Day. I also will not be participating in this, but it's still important, and women, make sure that you get your checkups scheduled post-COVID. So with that, Andrew from North American will be presenting, and I will hand it over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Brendan. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. And thank you to Brendan and the E4 team for having me on this morning. I want to talk just in a few minutes I have with you this morning on this very special National Eat What You Want Day about a concept, a client solution that we're seeing a lot of success with at North American, and that's the utilization of our new Smart Builder product. Some of you before might have known this as the Rapid Builder product in the past. We've updated it this year, and really want to focus on a couple things: the leverage, legacy, and the liquidity in this product. So to set the stage here, I want to start by describing a conversation that perhaps many of you have had while working in the financial industry with your client, right? So imagine yourself, you're sitting down with your client across the kitchen table. Of course, nowadays that's a virtual kitchen table. So whether you're talking to your clients through Zoom or FaceTime or whatnot, but you're doing, that financial analysis, and you come across some funds while you're doing that. Say, Mr. or Mrs. Client, what are these funds for? What is this money for? And the client simply responds, and they usually say, nothing. I don't plan on using that money unless I have to, and I'm probably just going to leave it for my kids, my heirs, whoever that is. And so if you think back, to how many of you have had a conversation like that, right, with the client while you're doing that financial analysis? And, when that conversation occurs, you probably just continue on with the review, knowing that there's really not a whole lot you can do with that. The client's already dictated to you what they believe, that money should be used for. And you as a financial advisor probably can't think, in that moment, is there a good solution for that? The client's already said that they don't want to, have that money really be participating or locked up. They've indicated they want it to go to family members or heirs. So maybe we'll just let it sit there until we come across a better solution for that client. And the goal there is the client wants to maintain the accessibility of the funds. And so the question to you this morning is, if you could provide a solution for your clients that would allow them accessibility to the funds, yet have some of that growth potential, is that something that would be interesting to you? And so that's what we're going to dive into again this morning in talking about such a solution utilizing North American Smart Builder product. And so again, to kind of lay the framework here, I'm going to be referencing lazy money. And when I talk about lazy money, those are funds that the client wants to retain as both accessible to them, but they also want it to have limited exposure to loss of value, right? They don't want to lose the premium that they put into this product. And so these are funds that the client wants to have control over in the event that they may need to access that. And so examples of lazy money, right, are maybe annuities that are coming due, money market accounts, savings accounts. Maybe it's a client that's stuffing, cash under a mattress. These are readily accessible funds with limited exposure to loss. And in some instances, there may be some penalties or charges in tapping into those funds early, and certainly you would want to advise a client appropriately. But again, these are funds that are tied, to risk-averse people that don't want to lose this money, and again, they need it in case of emergency. And another potential asset that you can tap into, perhaps a client has come into a windfall of inheritance, right? Maybe someone passed away and left them funds, and now they decided, hey, this money that we inherited, we want to pass on to the next generation as well. How can we best leverage that to pass on the legacy? So the example here this morning, what we're going to look at is a 65-year-old female. And again, we've kind of defined this term lazy assets. Well, this client here has $250,000 in those lazy assets. And she's let her advisor know that, yeah, she has a desire for upside potential, but not at the risk of losing that value that she has. She's worried about the liquidity risk as well. Can she tap into the funds later on in life if she needs to, if an emergency comes up? So the example here, we're using, again, that 65-year-old female. For life insurance purposes, we're saying that she's standard non-tobacco. And she puts that money into this Smart Builder IUL. And on the column on the left, you can see that's captured there in the blue outline. Midpoint values here are in the orange outline, that box in the middle. And then on the right, we
don't see that. We see your 65-year-old female.
Let's see if it takes a second to move over.
There we go. Now we're good.
Okay. Sorry. Apologize. There's a little bit of a delay there. But I'm looking at the ledger here. And again, you can see the guaranteed column highlighted in the blue outline, midpoint in orange, and on the gray, this is not the current. I've in fact dialed this down to 5% because I do want to show the client a conservative, realistic outcome here. So this is not the max that you can illustrate on this product. Again, I've chosen to be a little bit conservative and graph it out to the client. Better looked at is when you graph it out. And the reason that I like to highlight that guaranteed column is because that is the worst case scenario. I call that the doomsday scenario. That is not just showing the guaranteed amount that North American will credit the policy. That is also showing the highest amount of charges that we can charge. Now, I'll knock on wood here, but never in North American's history have we increased our COIs on an enforced block of business. And so, again, that blue line is showing just that, the highest amount of charges that North American can charge, as well as the minimum crediting amount. And even in that scenario, the client dumping into $250,000 has 97% cash surrender value guaranteed in the first year. And of course, on the midpoint value, we looked at 3.5, and then at the 5%, you can see that that is much higher than that. But even in the worst case scenario, in year one, there's 97% cash surrender value. So again, the client is concerned about liquidity, about, hey, if I dump in $250,000 into a life insurance product, I don't want to have, $175,000 only accessible to me in that first year. And so for clients that are looking for that liquidity, this is a great solution. And you can see that that guaranteed amount, even with the max charges, by year 3, full cost recovery, and hovers over that amount of premium for the remainder of her life expectancy. Again, that is the worst case scenario. More realistic, we can see the orange and gray lines, how those perform on their respective cash value returns of 3.5% and 5%. And I haven't even mentioned the leverage you get with the death benefit. That in year one is over $550,000, and again, that also increases over time. So going back to our original dilemma here that this client had was, I've got money here sitting on the sidelines, not really earning much for me, not doing much. Is there a solution that I can tap into that will not just preserve that liquidity, give me access to that money in case of an emergency, but also is there something I can leave as a legacy? What if I pass away? Certainly, if I pass away and I just have the $250,000 sitting in a money market account or in a savings account, that is not a lot that's going to transfer to my heirs, to my beneficiaries. But here, we can see that the immediate leverage you have by putting those funds into the Smart Builder product, over $550,000 tax-free death benefit that would pass on to her heirs, to her beneficiaries, while still preserving that access to the cash that she needs. How does this product do that? How does this product have such higherly cash values? Because it has a 0% premium load. This is one of the few, if not the only, life insurance product that I can think of that has a 0% premium load with it. Yet, the upside potential is tied to this being, it's on an IUL chassis, so it's on an index chassis. Currently, the cap is 8.5. Again, I've chosen not even to illustrate the max rate here because I do believe this is a conservative play, and because I really think that the funds, the illustration, still performs extremely well, even if you dial that down, less than the max illustrated rate. There is an optional waiver surrender charge. What that means is if you elect that rider, you will have 100% cash surrender value in year one. So again, this example I just showed, there's 97% cash surrender value in year one. I chose not to illustrate the rider, but you can. And in that case, if you dumped in 250, you would have 250,000 available to you in the first year. Again, I didn't because I still think 97% is a very powerful story, and because long term, the product performs much better. But it is an option. Again, if you need if you have a client that needs to see that full cost recovery in year one, you would choose to select the waiver surrender charge. This policy also includes living benefits in a critical, chronic, and terminal illness riders. That's another great thing about having that leverage with the death benefit, is that for those living benefits, of course, you would accelerate a portion of that death benefit, and you have immediate leverage with that when you put the money into this product that you can tap into for a chronic illness event. For instance, if the client were to have Alzheimer's or go into a nursing home later in life, they could, again, access these riders to help pay for those costs. Compensation offered an upfront comp, or you could do a trail asset-based comp, or you can do a combination of both. And right now, we are allowing up to $1 million of premium into the product. So again, I'm illustrating an example here. It's showing 250,000, but you can put in up to $1 million in the product today. If you were to think about who is the ideal candidate, who's the ideal prospect out there, advisors I'm talking to right now are really mining their books of business in this current environment, saying, you know what, there's not a whole lot of new client acquisition going to take place, so I need to go back to my existing client database and find the opportunities there, the low-hanging fruit. It's those clients probably between ages 55 to 75. They're concerned about liquidity, right? That's important to them. They've identified, money that they need to be safe, but there's still that desire for more growth potential. They don't want to be sitting entirely on the sidelines. And of course, there's a death benefit need so that they can pass on that legacy to their loved ones, or they've said, you know what, let's leverage this money for living benefits. I do not want to end this morning without talking about our digital end-to-end platform. This is especially important in today's environment. And so when you're thinking about doing business with North American, I would highlight the fact that we can go from one end to the other end completely digital, starting with an electronic app. We have the online part 2, which are the medical and lifestyle questions. Again, that's available to the client online. We've got an accelerated underwriting program, e-signature through DocuSign, and on the back end, we do e-delivery. Again, the entire experience so that you, the advisor, can be doing business sitting in your home office, and the client can be, sitting in their home, and you can still conduct business today. In closing, I would challenge you, think about clients, again, within that age category. Maybe they're clients that you've asked that question before in the past, and they've identified money that is sitting on the sidelines. Maybe they're clients that you haven't asked that question, but you have the ability today. Say, you know what, don't just sit on the sidelines. Here's an option that'll give you liquidity with upside potential. If you need any marketing material, I know I've covered briefly this product and this concept. If you need any illustration or would like to look at that, please don't hesitate to reach out to E4 Insurance for any of that support, or myself and North American. And again, I would encourage you schedule time with clients to review this solution. And I know a lot of advisors are having success with this today in this environment. There's a lot of clients that are looking for that flight to safety right now, but they also don't want to completely abandon upside potential. And this solution gives both. So again, I would encourage you schedule time, review this concept with your clients, and see if it's a great fit. Again, thank you for the time this morning, and I'll turn it back over to Brendan so I can start thinking about what I'm going to eat the rest of the day now that it's National Eat Whatever You Want Day.
Thank you, Andrew. And we've used this product religiously over the years, as its current form or previously as the Rapid Builder, and really is a great product. It delivers and provides that peace of mind, liquidity, and leverage that everybody wants. So, Andrew, yeah, as he said, a completely online, platform, so that you can not only take an app but deliver everything digitally for your client, which is instrumental in our current environment. So, Andrew, thank you. If there are any questions,
Andrew. Yeah, Andrew. Good morning. This is Dan Peterson. Thanks for sharing. What is the accessibility of the death benefit for chronic illness? Can you just cover that?
Absolutely. So the accessibility for the rider on a chronic illness is 24%, up to $480,000 per year. So again, you can tap into that every single year. It is not a reimbursement method, so you can use the funds for whatever you'd like. And you have to not be able to perform 2 or more activities of daily living for a period of 90 days, at least 90 days. So it does not have to be permanent, which I know a lot of riders nowadays have amended. It used to be in the past, we would say you can't do 2 or more ADLs for the rest of your life. Now it can be temporary, but it has to be at least 90 days, and you can accelerate a portion of that death benefit. Again, and if that continues the next year, I would go back to my doctor. Doctor would say, "Yep, Andrew, you can't feed yourself and you can't bathe." So then, another acceleration there, so you can keep accelerating up to a maximum of $1 million.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Wonderful. Everyone have a great week, and thank you for attending the brew.